Hello, Rachel. You are up next.
Hello, Bart. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. You got a hand for, is this Boston Harbor Encore or?
It is.
Okay. So, and is this 2-5?
Yep, 2-5 on a Saturday night.
All right. So 2-5. Actually, I haven't been in there on a Saturday night ever at Boston Harbor Encore.
It can get pretty busy in there. The games are okay. I mean, I know you play during the day. I tend to be there sometimes on a Wednesday or Thursday, and it's better on the weekend. But you have to time the list just right on a Saturday, or you can wait for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have Poker Atlas, but, there's just a finite amount of tables for sure. And they'll get used up. And most of them they use for small stakes games. So, yeah, you can get jammed up there. Actually, I wanted to go in on a week. I wanted to go in. I know you're a subscriber, Rachel. I wanted to go in on a weekend to go play Ultimate Texas Hold'em because I have this whole thing, which is a table game. I think it's a great way to break even for comps. I'm kind of over video poker, but you don't get an edge in that game unless the casino is full of drunk people, and there's like and it's really crowded. And there's a number of reasons why. And I haven't been into that casino when it's like that. Like I'm there during the day. So you might see me there one weekend actually just playing Ultimate Texas Hold'em as I suss out. Although I will say, like, in any win property, I've never really seen any weak dealers or table. I mean, they usually run their stuff it's very hard to get any type of advantage in a win property, unlike Caesars and unlike MGM. And I will be going over a small segment, I think, on my flagship podcast about Ultimate Texas Hold'em. Ultimate Texas Hold'em is just a table game. I mean, the way the game's set up is it's negative EV. It's just that the dealers can't read the board because they're blackjack dealers. And there's other certain things that you basically free roll the casino on the mistakes that they make. And they will shortchange you in the opposite direction. But if you're watching, you don't allow them to make a mistake against you, but you allow them to make a mistake in your favor. It's basically how it runs. Okay, so 2-5 Boston Harbor, 1K cap. And how deep are you?
1,300 effective with this villain.
1,300 effective. Okay. Yep.
All right. So I am in the big blind and look down at Ace of Spades, King of Spades.
Okay.
All right. So folds to the cutoff who raises 20, then folds to me, and I raise to 75.
So cutoff raise to 20, hero 3 bets to 75 at 1,300 effective. So just under 4x. I mean, you could go a little bit larger. Definitely want a 3-bet though. Okay. And he calls, I assume?
Yeah, he does. I usually go to 4x plus any dead money, but since he was the only player in the pot, I wanted to make sure I got a call there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to get something that would allow him to come in with weaker hands. So he 4-bets to 225.
He 4-bets. Well, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting because, I mean, again, like you are in a situation, I'm looking down here at one of our content creators, Nate, saying, just bang slots, Bart, better return on your money than table games. Just find 97% return. I assume Nate is trolling me. You can play blackjack with all the best rules, like at stand 17 for minus 0.2% at MGM. I mean, sorry. Anyways, I digress. And Ultimate Texas Hold'em is better than that. But you're in a situation here where you can call with a lot of medium strings to hands here, right, out of the big blind. So you actually are in somewhat of a situation where you can be a little bit polar 3-betting here out of the big blind because you can call with a lot of medium strings stuff. So then when somebody 4-bets you, when you can do a lot of calling and you're probably value skewed, it should be fairly strong. Like, I don't know why someone would choose to 4-bet a really strong range with something like, say, 6-7 suited, 7-8 suited, something like that. With that being said, I think probably the play here is to call. I mean, the theory goes you're supposed to like put in always the extra bet with ace-ace and ace-king suited as a balance, but it's hard to really have a 5-bet range in live poker because we've talked about this many, many times because the pot is already going to get bloated. So if you want to play call everything once a 4-bet comes in, I think that's fine. You could also jam. I mean, you could jam if you thought that there was fold equity against like queens and jacks. If you ever 4-bet those hands, you could jam.
Yeah, I certainly thought about jamming, or I thought about, raising and what would happen next. I think the problem there is we're just so deep. If we had been more like 800, 900 effective, I probably would have just jammed because in this stack size, I felt like there was a little bit of room to play post flop. So I'll just bring up here, my husband thinks that, quote, I should have considered a fold. And I think that's crazy. So I
What?
just wanted to say that. Yeah, thank you.
What is your husband? Is he playing the micros, like 1-2 or something?
Yeah, he mostly plays PLO, but I mean, he had a lot of
Oh
years.
my, fold? What?
I'm not folding ace king suited.
No. Yeah, I disagree with that. I mean, sometimes you might find a fold in an extreme scenario with like an ace king offsuit, but not. God, no. All right, so you make the call, and the pot is $450, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So flop is jack of clubs, 10 of spades, 6 of hearts.
So jack of clubs, 10 of spades, 6 of hearts. Okay.
So I check.
Uh-huh.
And the villain checks behind, which I was not expecting.
That is weird. Because he's supposed to be c-betting pretty much everything here. I mean, I suppose maybe he thinks that you have enough jacks and tens here, but at this stack depth, like, again, it's supposed to be one of these like rangy types of bets, like at a 4-bet pot. So it is a little bit strange right off the bat. Now, maybe he is petrified that you have jacks or tens, but and also too, like if he bets like less than say half the size of the pot, you have to continue. I mean, the only time you're not going to continue is some ridiculously large bet. So, but I think it is somewhat strange that he checks it back. So it goes check. Okay.
So turn is the 8 of clubs.
Okay.
I decide to lead here because, like you said, I do have jacks in my range. Maybe I have tens in my range. Maybe I have queens in my range. Maybe
Sure.
he has queens and he's scared of me and can fold.
I mean, I think you could. I don't even know people in live chat saying that like he could be sandbagging jack. I don't know if he has jack or 10. I think he's legitimately, you guys have either the same hand or you might be able to get him off of like queen or something like that. And it is it's probably a better board for you now that I think of it than the 4-better. If the 4-better is not, it certainly is a better board than if 4-better is not, 4-betting jacks or tens. I don't know if that necessarily means the 4-better is supposed to be checking though, because it's, again, you guys have like about 2.5 pot size bets left. But one thing I would say of note here though too is that if he does have queens, that 8 brings in obviously a gut shot here to a 9 with queens. So if you bet and he calls, you're probably going to have to go for it, I would think. And you just hope that he doesn't have aces or kings that he's checking back and make some sort of hero call. Of course, you block that.
So I ended up betting 200 on the turn, which in retrospect, I think is a little bit small. But what I was trying to go for was I'm repping jacks. I'm repping something that's just such a monster. I don't want you to fold.
Well, if you bet 200 and he calls, the pot's going to be 850 and you guys are going to have 900 left.
Yep.
So I would prefer probably to go maybe 250 to 300 so that I can actually set up a shove at the end. Because I don't know. I mean, again, if you call, also too, like sometimes if you go 250 to 300, ace king's going to fold. Here at 200, I think sometimes you're going to find yourself in a guessing game on the river. And again, any queen is going to call here too as well. And you might get some ace kings and stuff to fold out too. So I would probably go a little bit larger here to set up a larger river bet. I assuming he calls.
He does.
All right.
So we're 850.
Yeah, you're 850. 850 with more than a pot size bet left, right?
Yep. River is the 3 of spades.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. Because now you're left with a pot size bet. You're left with a pot size bet, right? I would like to see a larger bet on the turn so that he would fold off some of the ace kings. And now he might still have some of those ace kings. I just don't see how you're ever good here literally ever, unless he somehow 4-bet ace queen and then he 4-bet ace queen as a bluff and then check back the flop and then call the turn with a double gutter on the turn. I mean, I suppose. See, here's the thing. This is such an extreme example. There are situations where we want guys to fold, and I see it all the time, right? We talk about this on the show a lot, where sometimes betting less and making it look more value-y ends up having more fold equity than actually just shoving in a given situation when people look like somewhat polarized. But here, I think, especially if you're a woman and you bet like something like pot, it's pretty strong because you got to be capable of bluffing in order to do that. I mean, I would still mostly bluff here. Maybe for a guy like me, it's 2/3. Maybe for somebody like you, it's more credible to bet pot, or it looks sort of stronger. But it's quite a little situation. I think I would definitely bet, and I would go at least 600.
No, that's helpful. I mean, it's good feedback. Like, one thing I'm still working on in my game is structuring, turn size correctly to get the right river size. And so this was definitely a hand where I didn't do that. So it's good feedback there. So I went 500 on the river. I mean, which is more than half pot.
So what do you think? What do you think he's going to fold? What do you think he's going to fold out here?
I think he's going to fold ace king. I think maybe there's a chance that he folds queens.
I still think that some people are going to convince themselves just to call. Like if they check back any overpair, they're going to convince themselves to call after checking back. So I think that's why you need to put a little bit more money in. And again, an alternative play here is to just upfront jam, get it in, pre-flop. What ended up happening?
So he tanked forever and ended up making the call.
Uh-huh.
You want me to reveal?
Sure. Yep.
Ace king off.
He tanked and called with ace king off?
Yeah.
So you chopped?
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a terrible call. That is a terrible, terrible call. Wow. Because what does he beat? He blocks ace king, right?
Yeah. So I asked him, I was like, why did you call me there? And he says, well, I just didn't think that your hand looked like value, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I know my bets could have been bigger, but to me, the small turn bet, looked a lot. I was trying to make it look a lot like value.
Sure.
So I don't know where I could have played it differently to better make my hand look strong to get him to fold.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess my question to you is would you play queens and kings here the same way? Queens, kings, and aces, you'd probably play the same way, right?
I think aces I might just ship free.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I would play queens and kings exactly the same way.
Yeah, so if that's the case, and I do believe that, Rebecca, the fact that he holds ace king in his hand is just, I mean, I don't know what he's hoping for, that you have ace queen. That's amazing. Yeah. Yes, poker is definitely alive. But thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it.